If I unmute my mic, it'd probably help you guys be able to hear me better. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with the Focus. Morrison Perfect, joined by Justin Walters once again. I got a little bit to get through today. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. A little bit of a late start time this morning. I needed some time. I had to get up really early today. I'm not a morning person at all. All right, so last night in the NBA, defense continues to reign supreme once again as the Celtics took down the Nets to take a 2-0 series lead. Three of the four stars in the series had a very rough shooting night, including KD, who went 0 for 10 in the second half from the field. He lived at the line for most of the duration of this game. Jason Tatum struggled from the floor as well, but Jaylen Brown was huge. He got things going using his size, his physicality, attacked the basket, hit a big three late. But it comes down to that Boston defense, and Ime Udoka is coaching circles around Steve Nash, and that is the nicest way to say what's happening as far as the battle on the sidelines. It's not a battle. It is one way. It is a landslide at this point, and the series shifts to Barclays this weekend. The Sixers needed some heroics from Joel Embiid to pull away from the Raptors in overtime last night, 104 to 101. Joel, after taking a questionable shot at the end of regulation, comes up big and hits a game-winning three in the closing seconds of the extra period. Big shot, most importantly for the Sixers, which is what you want to do in the first round. Take care of business as quickly as possible. The win last night, they're up 3-0 in their series. The Bulls rebounded and got one on. They're now on the board in their series with the Bucks, beating Milwaukee 114 to 110. DeMar DeRozan had a monster game with 41 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Vucevic had a double-double with 24 points and 13 rebounds. Zach LaVine added 20 as the Bulls draw even. The first game was kind of close as well. Great job by the Bulls to take advantage of this one and close down the stretch. They had built a 20-point lead at one time, and then, Milwaukee's the reigning champs. You don't expect them to lay down, and they didn't. They walked Chicago down, but they weren't able to take the lead. The Bucks got big games from Giannis. They had 33, 18, and 9, and Brook Lopez as well. However, something to keep an eye on going forward for the Bucks. Chris Middleton sprained his MCL in his left knee. In the loss, he slipped on the drive to the basket late in the game, so that could be big if he's out for an extended amount of time, especially considering, Chicago, thinking about DeRozan, Chicago has some talented scorers on the perimeter, and Middleton is one of their better defenders to go along with Jrue Holiday. All right, as far as tonight's slate of games, pretty much got a bunch of game threes out west. You got Minnesota and Memphis tonight. That should be fun because, Minnesota got what they wanted. They got a split on the road, which is big, and now they go back to Minnesota, and, hopefully they can take advantage of the home court. If not, if you're the Grizzlies, you want to go to Minnesota and reclaim your home court advantage in this series. You got the Mavs and the Jazz, rather. Sorry about that. First game in Utah is game 3. That series is 1-1 as well after Jalen Brunson and Maxi Kleber went off. The nightcap is the Warriors Nuggets. Saw that Denver have a little bit of an emotional breakdown as Golden State won on a monstrous run in game 2 between the middle of the second quarter and the end of the third quarter. They scored 70 freaking points. Some words coming out of the Denver side of it. Whatever happened, all that bad energy from game 2, apparently it stayed. They dumped it and flushed it with whenever game 2 ended. They got a chance to get back in the series. They're now at home. It's up to them to take advantage of it. And that's what it really comes down to. That's what you're here for, Sid. We're getting there, man. Thanks for that. Because my phone just wouldn't stop buzzing yesterday. Yeah, I just couldn't wait to come. That's the most my phone buzzed in like a month. All right, but since Sid, you asked for it, this is where we're pretty much going. All right, just a reminder, you guys know how it goes here on Mornings with the Focus. We got a couple topics we will get through. But if you guys are in the comment section, use it. Like Sid just did. You guys, if there's things you want to talk about, don't be shy. Type away. And we shall respond. All right, Justin, we're going to get to this now, man. The ever-going saga I forgot what year was it? 2018 draft, 2019 draft. Their wide receivers all wanting extensions. The one who's apparently made the most views is one Deebo Samuel. So officially yesterday, multiple reports broke that Deebo Samuel had requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. Apparently, he submitted his trade request a couple weeks ago, but it became public to the world yesterday when multiple reporters put that news out there. Schefter, Darlington, Rappaport, etc. The usual suspects. A ton of folks wasted no time already crafting multiple trade scenarios, which I don't blame anyone for doing that. Debo's one of the most dynamic offensive weapons in the league, and any team would be happy to add that to their to their stable of weapons, to their wide receiving core, to their offense as a whole. That said, it is in fact a request, and I'll stop there. I want to hear what Justin has to say about it before I chime in.
I think it's a lot of what do you call it, like smoke. I don't really think the 49ers want to trade Deebo, and I don't really. I think people got in his ear. He's like, you had an All-Pro season this year, and it's kind of like go get you got to go get your money now. And I think that's the big thing about taking your name off Instagram or. I mean, I don't know. Is that the new breakup? I really don't know, but it's a ploy. They're trying some different things, and of course, the fan base, 49ers fan bases could be a little rough, and I think that doesn't help either.
Extremely toxic, and quite racist as well. But go ahead, carry on.
But I just think we're getting to a weird spot. I think with the receiver position and the way they use people. So we can get to it later, but just how Deebo's a perfect fit for San Francisco. The same way that. He's a perfect fit for them. They're a perfect fit for him. But when you start trying to move people around, you see that money and you get crazy. You're like, man, this guy's getting 25, but I did this. This guy's getting 30, but I did this. And it's like, as a pure receiver, there's probably 10 to 15 guys that are like Deebo and similar in that same range. But when you get to what Deebo brings to the table, the mentality he sets for the 49ers, physicality, everything he does just fits well with that team. So I think when you start trying to move around, the value's not the same, but in this NFL, everyone thinks they can do it. There's so many soft teams in the NFL that Deebo would go into some of those teams and be looking around confused. Like what's going on with these guys? So I think it's a weird situation, and I don't think San Francisco's. They're a smart team. Like that's why they don't have these salary cap problems that the rest of the NFL has. They could have said. Heard their star complain one time and said, oh, my God, we got to pay him. But that's how you end up, with bad contracts where you're trading Amari Cooper for a fifth-round pick, or things like that. I think it's patient. They got to be patient. Both teams, they're going to go back and forth. And that's part of bargaining. You don't come out with your best offer on day one. You start low, and I'm sure Deebo went in super high and the 49ers went in super low, and somehow they'll meet in the middle, and he's a key part of that team, and that's the Super Bowl roster. That's the Super Bowl team right there. So, we'll see what happens. But again, I think it's early still, and it's definitely further than we thought. Early on it was like whatever. But it's you start hearing people talk, and if you're not communicating directly, that's how things get ugly. You got the ESPN guys that get out there and want to report everything as fact immediately, which that feeds that doesn't help either. So I think. Deebo's new to this. He wasn't the high pick, so this is all new to him. And I think that's you get people in your ear telling you what you deserve. Like, I wouldn't be nothing without you. You know what I mean? Hey, the quarterback made $25 million, and he threw 4 passes in a playoff game. So I think there's so much in his head that it's kind of like I got to go get mine now. You look and he sees Christian Kirk getting paid. He sees all these other guys, and he's like, he wants his money, which he deserves. But he is under contract, so. 49ers really don't have to do anything. So, I mean, that's what I got. I know you got a lot more.
Yeah, Sid, I'm gonna lead this up here. I'm gonna get to you in just a second. Just a second, because I saw a bunch of people bringing this up. I think it's nonsense, but I'm gonna tell you why I think it's nonsense in just a while. Yeah, with the Deebo thing, look, man, by far one of the things I've heard, consistently the last 3-4 years in this league, the Niners are the hardest team to negotiate with. No one enjoys it. It's like, it's one of those things where something's wrong with your teeth. You got to go to the dentist, and it's going to lead you know it's going to lead to that one visit's going to lead to three, and you know you don't want to go, but you know you need it. That's negotiations with them. I think the difference between him and what George did or Fred did was Deebo just been more public about it. But I remember when George was going through this, the first offer they got, George's agent was the one being loud about it. George wasn't, but his agent was out there like, "Yo, it's disrespectful." They called the first offer like some type of massacre. Like that's how upset they were. Like again, it's a long negotiation, and like Justin said, I think that's what happened. They came out there, you know, Deebo had a high number, and they were like, They gave him a low number. And I think, you know, again, Deebo's first time going through this. And I don't know. And other thing I might want to look up is how many Dandy clients are on the Niners. Because this might be the first time that Dandy's going through this with them negotiation wise as well, which is tough because there are no like it's hell to do deals with them. But I've seen this happen 2-3 other times where it's like this is just the most public you got so far. And I think the other thing, I think I brought it up, you know, talking with you, Justin, he's 26. His other classmates are like 24. He only has one big payday. So he needs to get, so I feel like that's some of it that's on it. Like that's such an urgency. What's going on, Michael Kirksey? See you in there. But like a lot of the noise, like, oh, I just want to play wide receiver only. I think that only came up because I'm sure what the Niners did in that first, I think what they did in that first negotiation was like, yeah, we're going to give you wide receiver money. And he's like, well, what about the snaps at running back? We're like, all right, well, cool. Then we'll give you top running back money. And I think the hardest part of this is you can't it's hard to quantify what Deebo is because he's a one-on-one, which means this was always going to be a long, drawn out. It was going to get contentious at some point as far as negotiations go. And I get, you know, some folks are like, oh, man, he's forcing a trade. Look, man, if this was the NBA, I feel so much different. Y'all have been NFL fans for most of your life. How often are people able to force or dictate terms on their rookie deal if you're not a quarterback? Like, let's just wind this back. And I hate to talk about worst case scenario, but worst case scenario, he got 1 year left on his rookie deal. You're a second round pick. You cannot afford to sit out your last year because money, if you're trying to get it back money wise, it would count as an accrued season and it would delay the last year of your rookie deal. Secondly, that also means that if they so choose, again, this is worst case scenario, to go with the franchise tag, that's 2 more years they control you. You're 26. You get into he's going to be 27 by the end of his rookie deal, which is next year. 2 franchise tags later, that means he's about 30. No one's going to give him what he deserves at 30. It sucks, but that's the nasty part about the not for long league. And this, I'm not saying this is going to happen. Just putting everything out there on the table because it's something where I feel like people should do, right? Another thing, you know, it is just a request, and the fact that they kept that from going public for 2 weeks also speaks volumes. I feel like some of this is from Deebo's side is you're trying to put pressure because you want your money now, and I get it. They're not going to move any faster than they want to. It's just business. And like Kirksey said, it's just business. And that's the ugly part. We've seen this happen multiple times in the NFL, which how they handle players and contracts. They got more control over players in that league than other leagues. Some other news, like Justina Anderson said yesterday, several of the suitors that people had is lining up to bid on Deebo. You know, they don't anticipate him being moved. And then, you know, like Benjamin Albright was like, essentially, the Niners set the price to LOL. Like, yeah, you can do it, but it's going to cost, like, it's going to hurt. So, I mean, if somebody jumps all the way out there, who knows? Maybe the Jets are that desperate. But I guarantee if the Jets are that desperate, if they offer 35, 38, and whatever for Tyreek, I know the Niners are like, so you coming off of 4 or 10? If they're asking for God offers. So we're going to see what happens. I think it's just going to be a nice, long, contentious negotiation, and it is what it is. You know, the draft's in we're literally a week away. We'll see what happens. But they don't, like, the team doesn't have to move any faster than they don't want to. And I think that's the part everybody's forgetting. The other thing is, you know, you brought up Terry Kirksey, and that's the other thing. Terry's part of that group too, except he went 3rd round. But between Terry, Deebo, DK, and AJ, all of them are waiting for the other one to be the first one to get signed. So to keep that in mind, if 4 of them are waiting, for the other to do it, and then 3 of the 4 all have the same agent, that's going to be a little bit. But I get everybody being excited. If your team can go get them and they're willing to pay the price, by all means, you go do what you got to do. And I'm sure San Fran's like, if we got to lose them, give me the worlds. Because I wouldn't demand anything less than it. I wouldn't, because the other thing is you got to extend them, but you still have, you would be trading something like that 2 years younger than Hill with 1 year left on his rookie deal. So for at least the first year, you can give him a big signing bonus, but that first year is still $3 million. So, we'll see. But as far as this dude, I think Deebo's worried about a down season. No, I don't think he's worried about a down season with Lance. I think what he's worried about is he might not be asked to do everything he did last year. So you might not what's the best? I think he wants to get paid for everything he did last year because of how he was used out of necessity. Even if you go throughout all the games last year, right? You had all the Jimmy games. You had 2 Trey games, right? The 2 Trey games, Deebo didn't get this. His touches weren't all the same. So if you wanted, and again, super small sample size, but with the Trey games, we saw he was used more like the dude we saw at South Carolina. Here's an end around here and there, but for the most part, go run a route, go be somebody deep, go be a wide receiver. However, I want my money for playing running back half the season last year, which I'm not mad at him. I also want my money for what I did. However, I want wide receiver money for the future because I see what this could be. If I was on track for 1,400 with noodle arm playing in the sandbox, and then we get to use all 3 levels of the field, I want my money. Like pay me for what I can. Pay me for what I did out of necessity, and then for what I will do as the playbook and the field opens up and everything else. And the injury risk factor, I mean, that's part of it. That's why I think it took so long with Kittle. Like, I don't think everybody remembers Kittle's thing just wasn't as public. They did the same thing with Kittle, and they had a whole bunch of ugly things in his contract. Like, hey, buddy, you get hurt. We love you, but sometimes you be hurt. And when you be hurt, you be gone. And while you're gone, we're not trying to pay you. NFL, man. Terry might do the same. I'm interested. I think Terry's doing the PR thing where he's showing up for the voluntary workouts, but ain't none of them getting on that field. That's what I do know. Like, whether you're like, I think DK showed up in the building, and that's cool. It's cute. I bet you DK ain't put no pads, no shorts, no cleats, nothing on. DK's just there to watch his teammates. But from a PR standpoint, it's great. Even with AJ, I think Tennessee fan base started acting like San Fran's fan base. And like last week, AJ removed Tennessee out his Twitter bio, and people started acting up. They don't got time for this, but I think the biggest thing is they kind of want to force their hand into acting earlier than they want to. And like, we know the wide receiver, the money in the market is going to go up, but you can't force NFL teams to do something they don't want to do. At the same time, you need someone to jump out there to start this. Who's going to be the team that does it?
You know what, Will? Just interesting point. Interesting point you made was the position thing. That was because I thought about the Jimmy Graham situation. Where he wanted to be paid as a wide receiver, but he was a tight end. And that franchise thing and that kind of probably led to him leaving. I think it was New Orleans at the time. But like in Deebo's case, it's interesting because, like, I think what Sid's question was, his role's gonna get cut because they don't. A good coach, a good organization doesn't want to be a one-man team. Like, that's not the original plan. You don't want to be so dependent. Like Green Bay was so dependent on Devontae Adams, or some teams we become a one-man team, but you become easier to defend. That's why the Packers can't beat good teams. So I mean, the 49ers offense, Brandon Ayuk's a good receiver. The vision with Trey Lance is different. It's going to involve Trey Lance pulling the ball and running. Their run game, they can run the ball with any running back. So they have that. They get the ball to their fullback. They have an all-pro tight end. And I said Brandon Ayuk is as good as a rising star in this league. So his numbers are going to go down. He might have similar numbers as a receiver, but they'll come easier. It won't be so many catch a 2-yard pass and fight for 5 or taking these crazy collisions because the quarterback threw you in the fire. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be easier on him, but he's just like, I don't get the last year back. You know what I mean? Like, How many running backs had 400 carries? What Dallas did to DeMarco Murray. Like, you don't get that year back. You know, they run you into the ground, and it's like, yeah, we're done with you. So I think that's what he's thinking. But again, he's one of the better players in the league. But this year just showed a level that you can't withstand that. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch, but it's not a video game. You know, moving best player around, or this ain't high school. You know, like you're taking hits from linebackers, and he runs through them. You know, and he deserves all the respect in the world for it. But unfortunately, it's a business also. You know, so that got us through 2021. You know, or 2020, every year it is. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with tomorrow, because if they lose in 2023, y'all fans gonna be trying to get the coach fired again. So, you know,
that's every year for them.
Right. So it don't matter about making the NFC Championship on Deebo's back. You know, but that's what's so tough about the situation is, you know, this team, his numbers are gonna go down. There's no way around it. But again, they might be a better team. They'll be a better offense. They'll be a better team. But I just think he's the one that's had the best season. So I think maybe the agent was like, let's push him. You know, hey, the Deebo hype is as high as it's ever going to be right now. You know, because in reality, the guy who could have been pushing the most is probably A.J. Brown, because he's the face of that offense. You know, Henry does what he does, but it's only them. You know, it's only them.
But you want to know what? To that case, and I'll say something else when people might not like it. Hey, bro, Terry McLaurin over there playing in hell, putting up 1,000, 1,100 yard seasons. Like, I don't think Washington's going to enjoy that conversation. Like, he's out there by himself going nuts. They keep getting people, but those people either haven't been able to produce yet or they're hurt. So, you know, that's the interesting thing. And I love Deebo and the numbers and what have you, but I think that's the tough part. He wants to, like you said, he knows last year isn't sustainable for him personally, nor is the team going to use him like that. Why? And you know what jumps in my mind? You remember when Ray McLeod got signed and people were just giggling and laughing? They went to go find somebody who they deem expendable to go do that crap. Because I'm not going to ask the dude who I'm about to pay between 20 or excess of $20 million a year. I don't need you taking the mills. You that I'm paying $3 million, hey man, whatever happens, happens. Like, I wish you the best, Ray. Like, it's what it is. Like, I wish you the best. I hope you make something shake. But they also aren't paying Ray to be Deebo or Brandon. So, you know, it's different things there. But like I said, I'm here. I haven't gotten too high or too low about it. And it's just me being honest with, bro, every negotiation with them sucks. Jimmy Ward was on IG like maybe a week or two ago talking about it, because when he re-ups, he was like, the Raiders offered him more money, but he came back for like $11 million a year to play for the Niners. And Brandon Ayuk was in the IG comments, and it was like, the player is called Parag GameStop, because, you know, like, what's it called? You take your games to GameStop, you never got full value. That's what it's like negotiating with Parag. Like, it's really wild. Yeah, I don't even think they're claiming bankruptcy. Like, they have bread for him. I think, again, Deebo wants his money now, and you're not about to force them, of all people, all organizations in this league, they're not about to do anything faster than they want to, and it's no deeper than that to me. Like, they budgeted for him and Nick. Like, I'm sure they knew they were going to have to set aside $25-30 million apiece for him and Nick after the Super Bowl run. It was the same draft class. You knew what time it was. But like, with the difference with Nick went top 5 or whatever. There's a 5th-year option. So you don't got to do this dance with Nick. You got 2 more years before you have to deal with Nick. Deebo's different. 2nd-round pick. I think he's older than Nick. I think he's 2 years older than Nick. So again, the age thing sucks here again. But I don't think it's about not having money. Like, I laugh, like, people like, oh, well, Jimmy's here, so they can't pay him. Man, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. They give out their contracts in July and August. That's right. They just, again, it's why it's tough to deal with them people. They just choose violence in every negotiation, regardless of who you are. There's a button on Parag's desk, and that man hits it. He just chooses violence. Like, I could give you your money now, and everybody could be happy. However, you know, typically we submit our best offers between the months of July and August. So it's typically what we're going to stick to. Like, there's a bunch of beat writers like, yeah, it's par for the course. This is what they normally do. But it'd be fun to see, because one or two things is going to happen, right? Someone's going to pay a king's ransom. or he's going to be a Niner. So, I seen some people like, oh man, he could hold out, bro. The last couple people that held out and held in, done messed it up. Stuff got put in the CBA. You can't even, unless you got FU money, you can't. Sit at home money. You can't even be doing that like that. And right now, Deebo's trying to get the sit at home money. I mean, like I said, for the player, I'm pro player all day. Deebo deserves his bag. Unfortunately, you are dealing with the most annoying negotiating team in the league. It sucks, Deebo. I'm sorry, man, but they're gonna get on your nerves 50 times over. It's what they're gonna do. They did this with Trent Williams. They traded Washington for Trent. Right after the season, Trent was like, I might go to the Chiefs or whatever because Parag was being Parag. Trent was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. He picked up his phone, called Kyle. Hey, your man's is tripping. 15 minutes later, hey, Trent, here's all your money. I think it's one of those things. But we'll see what happens. You got, what is today, Thursday? We're a week away from the draft. We got the weekend to go. And John got to sit down and address the media on Monday. So it should be fun.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you.
What's good?
In the chat, or whoever. Okay, so if you take away, if he becomes Deebo wide receiver 1, X receiver only, what is he worth?
I think again, going with to quantify his role, if you take away the other stuff that makes him stupid special, he's still a top 10 wide receiver in the league. But I think it might knock him out the top 5 if he's a wide receiver only. Possibly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I still think he deserves top 10 money no matter what. I think when you throw in the other stuff, look, man, that's that top 3. Because now we're paying you as a weapon, as a playmaker. And I think that's what it comes down to. But again, am I shocked that the fact that they gave you so many snaps at running back could be used against you in contract negotiations? No, I am not. That's also why I think some of the noise is coming out where I view myself as a wide receiver. Yeah, because you went to that table and that offer was like, hey, running back / wide receiver, gadget guy. Here's $45 million. You like, no, wide receiver only. I don't want to do that other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because
probably try to split the difference. They probably try to split the difference. Yeah.
One of the reports that came out, Kirksey, was Lynch was like they had budgeted 22 to 24 per year for him. I just think the sticking point here is the guaranteed money. I think that's all it is. And again, going back to the fact that he's not going to get a second payday. So even, most contracts, people say they're 5-6 year deals. They're really like 2 to 3 year deals. Like for real. Let's say it's a 5-year deal, 2 or 3 of the years are real, right? 3 of the years are fully guaranteed. Add that on to next year. He's 30. Again, you're coming out of this, you're 30 years old. He needs it. He needs his guaranteed money, and he needs his bread now. That's the difference. And I think that's the issue. Because he's not going to get a second payday, big payday. Like Sid mentioned, people worried about how he's used and injuries, what have you. The numbers go down, whatever it might be. And I don't even think the numbers going to go down. They drafted the guy as a deep threat, and he never got to be that because of things they did under center, the decisions they made under center. It turned out that he was just so nice. He could be used so many different ways, but he still hasn't been used in his ideal way yet. The only time we really got to see him using the way he was supposed to be used was when the kid played. That's it. Like that post corner, those things. That's what he should be up there doing all day because there's not a secondary in the league that he's not running through. But because of what you had under center and you're playing in this this 10-yard box, oh man, here's this deep dig with both safeties waiting on you and the linebacker underneath. Die. He's breaking them tackles and then you know what I'm saying, still running off, what have you. Again, it opens the field up. And then now, and this is, man, we're talking about Deebo. If Brandon pops with trade, that's going to be an ugly discussion because, actually, it's going to help the Niners because Jimmy helped it. Where Brandon, you didn't get the most out of Brandon in his early years. It should be fun. I got another guy that's kind of interesting. Saquon Barkley had some things to say, Some people are throwing the B word around with him. I think it's ridiculous, calling him a bust and all types of other things. But how did the Giants get the best out of him or the best version of him this season? Recently, in an interview, it was like, to be honest, I'm just tired of whatever is written about me. The BS that's said about me or this team, I want to go out there and prove to the organization that the player they drafted is still there. I can still do special things with the ball in my hands, and I can help this team. Jesse, your thoughts of Saquon and what they should do with it?
I think the thing with a guy like Saquon, and Saquon is probably one of the most talented players to enter the league in, since who knows what. But you have to know what you're picking. Like Saquon's not a just give him the ball and things happen type guy. Like Saquon is a space player. I mean, he can run the ball, but he's not. Don't keep pounding him in the line of scrimmage. But I think like being able to use him to his strengths, and then running him into certain situations leads to injuries. I mean, some of the injuries were freak injuries. I think he got injured against Dallas on a freak injury this year. But again, they never really supported him. They picked an offensive lineman who, Andrew Thomas is starting to be okay, but he's early on he was struggling. But if Barkley gets in the right situation, hopefully he's not too injured by then. He's just a good player. He's an explosive player, and you see enough flashes. You'll see him break a long run here and there, or a screen, or he's dangerous in the passing game. He just got to end up in the right spot. And I think hopefully with Deebo as the coach, they can find ways. Even with Daniel Jones as quarterback, just get him in space a little more, and the weapons around him. It's tough when the teams are focused on you. You go in there and he's the weapon. It's not like you have a receiver. Okay, we got to play safeties deep. It's an 8-man box now, and they're like, limit this guy. And I think the wear and tear, and he doesn't go down. He refuses to go down, which isn't good. He thinks he can get out of any situation, which leads to taking some hits you don't need to take. And that's the issue. But I mean, I just think, hopefully with this new system, they can use him to his strengths and get to see what he can do as a receiver and running back.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is bad situation. People don't know what they're doing. Got them a weapon and don't know how to use it. It's the complete opposite of the Deebo situation. They realized they got a weapon and found 7,000 ways to use Deebo Samuels. The Giants got Saquon Barkley and was like, run left, run right, run up the middle. And then get mad at him. All eyes on him. Like, you think teams don't know Deebo's going to get the ball? Yeah, and he still gets it. You find different ways to do it. It's not that hard. Kirksey brought up Alvin Kamara. Again, you play the Saints. Death taxes, and Alvin's going to get carries and catches. He's getting touches. What are you doing to make life easier on him? How are you maximizing him to his full potential? You are not. And that's why, this regime, I'm interested to see what they do with this draft. Because if you fix the things surrounding him, you can get Saquon. Lighten up the box, guys. Get you a quarterback. Get you weapons downfield. Like, get things. Because right now, like, you got Saquon, you got Tony in terms of dudes offensively that can make people miss or whatever. Go get you some people who can win, like, just flat out win outside. Not kind of win outside. Win out, decisively win outside. Make this easier. Build up the offense to the point where only the worst player stands out, and if it happens to be Daniel Jones, so be it, replace him. But load, I'm not going to do that today with Daniel Jones. But load up the offense. Go in this draft and come out with talent. It's that simple. I think sometimes people make things too difficult, but Saquon's nice, man. Like, you got to find a way to use him, and I think that's a challenge for Dayball, and I don't think it's something that should be too difficult, honestly. Don't think it should be. But again, you definitely have to. Folks on the perimeter have to help, because again, if you're playing the Giants, what's the first thing you want to make sure you do? All right, we're not gonna let Saquon possibly do Saquon things. Let's erase the guy that's special. Okay. And again, not to keep comparing, contrasting it to the Deebo thing is. I'm sure everyone would love to load up on Deebo and keep that man from getting the ball. But there's a George, there's a Brandon, there's a Juice. Like, there's other things where you can't just take you can't focus all sets of eyes on him. But in New York, yeah, you could do that.
Well, even if you know okay, it's going to be this guy. The better coaches say, okay, well, he's our guy, but you don't know where he's going to be.
Yeah,
and I think, like I said, with Deebo, they got 9 different ways of him touching the football. And I think that's it. You're not just your running backs in the middle of the field and you hand them the ball and it's like, all right, good luck. Like, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? As special as he is, as many tackles as he breaks, and you'll see highlights of him juking 3 people to get 3 yards, but that's him maxing out. If you get him in space where against a linebacker, you get him, just the million ways Kamara's used. As the Saints played without Michael Thomas this year, and receivers from Division II and everywhere else in the world, and Kamara still put up numbers because Sean Payton was smart enough to put him in different positions to have success.
No, you're right. I'm with you. And again, going to next week's draft, it's huge. You got 2 picks because you stink. Go get something. Like, I'm sorry, that's not nice, but you're picking where you're picking because because of what the previous regime did. You got a chance to go in here, leave Daniel Jones be for another year, whatever it may be. This ain't the time to fix what's under center. Even like lo and behold, who knows? If you give him better weapons, maybe he's better. I don't know, but it's another story for another day. To make Saquon's life better, yeah, go get you some weapons. Like even in New Orleans, they find a way to use other things so you can't just focus on Alvin. Like, again, good coaches find a way, and Dayball's not a dummy, so we'll see how this goes. Obviously, he has been a head coach before, right? He was just an OC, so this will be a little different. But as far as his offense, he should know. Thoughts on the Giants receiver core? Yeah, I don't like it. Overhaul it. Keep Tony and replace everything else. That's me. Like, I like Sterling Shepard, but it's cool, bro. Like, I don't care. Just go get you more dynamic things and go from there. Because we're talking about getting the most out of Saquon, right? I don't got time for all that. You wasted your time with Galladay. But go ahead, Justin. I'm gonna stop being so negative.
I don't think yeah, I'm working on that too. They're not terrible. It's not a terrible group. I just feel like if used properly, and another thing is with that offense, I don't think they've had every one of those people together at the same time.
That's fair.
Haven't had even Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones had a couple decent games. He got hurt. What's his name? The slot receiver, rookie receiver last year came in, was playing well. He got hurt, and I'm sure at that time Barkley was out. And then Barkley came back. He was playing pretty well. He got hurt. Galladay, I didn't even see Galladay much last year. Sterling Shepard's a complimentary player. So, I just seeing all those people together with a coach that say, okay, if you're going to take Barkley away, then we're going to take some deep shots. It's got to be something. Galladay's not a burner, but he's a deep threat more in a contested way. So I just think being able to utilize your pieces properly would allow them at least to see what they have. Again, you can always use another guy, and then I think, obviously the Evan Ingram failing hurt. That hurt a lot on offense. But they do have weapons, solid NFL players.
Yeah, and that's cool. But yeah, for me personally, go get you something dynamic on the outside. I'm sorry. Like Justin said it, I'm sure a better coach will find a way to use everybody. And if everybody was there, it would make things better. And that's great. Go get you something dynamic on the perimeter. I just don't care that deeply. Go get you somebody who people have to watch, like the same way people focus on Saquon. Go get you somebody where you move player X across the formation, 3 bodies move. Like it alters something. Like, I don't think they have one of those guys on the perimeter. And I guess that's what I mean. So I was probably too harsh in how I said it, but go get you somebody that garners that type of attention. So I think, and yeah, courtesy, are they not used properly? I think it's both. It's pretty much what I'm gonna take from what Justin said in a much more diplomatic way than myself. Did you miss the NBA segment? Yeah, you did. But you got any questions about anything you want to talk about, man? We're here for you guys. So fire away. Fire away. Told you guys, man. Like, I got a couple things written down just for us to get rolling. And in case there's days when you guys aren't here, then we're done. But you guys pop in. Like, I can't tell you what not to type. It's just on me whether we respond or not. And I told you guys, if it's within reason, I will respond. So, okay. Got you. I know, Justin, you said you had one more while Kirksey gets his NBA stuff together, if he had any. You had one more topic you wanted to get to? Oh, man, my bad. I got you. Man, are the Nets done? Look, man, I think Nash is getting the floor wiped with him from a coaching standpoint. Ime Udoka used to be over in Brooklyn. Seems like Brooklyn probably hired the wrong coach, clearly. And we're finding out in this series. I think what they're doing, it's kind of funny to me, like watching everybody like, oh, Tatum shutting down KD or something. Man, look, man, it's not one-on-one over there, and that's why KD's struggling. They're guarding that man. It's 5 people guarding Kevin Durant. And Nash's offense, in which nobody moves, and it's 5 sets of eyes looking at KD, and that's why the initial defender on KD, you're not worried because once he gets by you, bro, you don't have just one person helping. your whole team is like, mm-mm. And I think it's like the ultimate sign of respect for probably the best scorer in the league. Like they don't want that dude to catch a rhythm because if he catches a rhythm, then it's just if he misses shots. And if you notice, we haven't seen Kevin hit back-to-back shots in this whole series in 2 whole games. Shout out to the masterpiece that they are running defensively. On the other end, though, the Nets defensively kind of bothering Boston too. So that's the interesting part here. But yeah, like they're putting hands on him. And again, I hate to do this, man. Keep going back to Nash. You acting like this man can't catch and shoot. How about you have a run off the screen or something? What are you doing? You keep running the same stupid actions. Boston ain't dumb. Again, Boston looked at the whole Nets roster and was like, hey, man, y'all do what y'all want. You know who's not going to do it? 7. Even when Kyrie goes off, it'd be like a soft double. Like it'd be like, it's a double just to get you to stop dribbling, but we not leaving 7. We've seen Seth Curry get left open. And you know where Seth Curry, man, is? Boxing out Kevin Durant to make sure he can't get free with somebody else. That's their job. And I'm not going to lie again. I'm looking at Nash, looking at the other folks on the net. Somebody need to step up and do something, man. But again, like, I think my reaction would be is I kind of feel – I was talking to one of my guys last night. I feel like one or two things. I would love Ben Simmons to come back and play in the series because I think he can alleviate a whole lot of this because he's a good enough facilitator where you could run Kevin and Kai off screens. Because right now you don't have anybody else. Like probably the only other facilitator that's healthy is Dragic. And my man, you see my man's head full of gray hair. He old, man. You can't play Goran. You can't play him 30, 35 minutes anymore. But even so, he's been good in this series. Like Boston can't guard Dragic. He's seeing the one-on-one like, where's my double? Where's the help? So, we'll see what happens. But, I don't think they're done just because, like I think the thing with Kevin, what makes Kevin is the fact that a lot of other people, if they had the ability to just raise up and shoot on somebody anytime, they would do it all the time. He kind of like, I want to get folks involved and uses it as the last resort. And I think what Boston's doing, they're playing to that. And I think they're trying to, how Giannis stays on the button and the button for Giannis just stays jammed down. Like the button's broken. I believe in violence at all times, no matter what. That's how Giannis plays. Kevin's like, I got the button. It's a really big button, but I don't like pressing the button too much. I want to play basketball with my guys as a team. And Boston's like, yeah, keep doing that. But I think, this thing could shift if Kevin's kind of like, damn, I got to hit the button. Then, this thing gets interesting. But again, Nash can only get outcoached the rest of this series, so it don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Kevin decided to hit the big red button. You see what happens from there. Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah. And this is what we like about you, Kirk. He said, I'm going to ask away. Yeah. Udoka's a hell of a coach. Yeah, and he's doing that. Yeah, they are helping, and that's why, like I said, it's funny watching narratives on social media like, oh, man, so-and-so's locking them up one-on-one. Right, they haven't left the soul with that boy one-on-one. They haven't. They not stupid. Why would you?
It looks like half the time it looked like a zone where he got the ball and you got everyone's eyes on him. But I think not to be a basketball expert, but it's like it's funny watching it because that one little run they made in was it third, fourth quarter on Saturday, I believe, or Sunday. That was with Kyrie kicking the ball to Durant for open looks. You know what I mean? But a couple of times he looked really bad when he started over dribbling. He got his back. He turned his back. He's falling on the ground.
Like he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to be the facilitator. Like again,
right.
Be an NBA coach. You acting like this 7-foot dude can't come off screens.
Right.
Like what are you doing? Put him on the move. He can just literally catch and shoot. But you out here like, nah, man, we're going to run this 1-4 pick and roll. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep running it and running it. Now it's going to be 2 screens instead of 1. And, oh, my gosh, Boston still doesn't care. Okay? They don't care.
Also, coming out to get the ball in their half court, that's even if you beat your man, you're coming from half court. The help's waiting for you. I think that's catching the ball at the elbow or catching the ball somewhere where he can make one move and get a shot off would definitely help him.
But instead, again, you got him bringing it up, 5 sets of eyes locked in on, right? They don't care about anybody else. Like they'll just be like, "Oh, look, Bruce Brown scored a bunch." Yeah, man. But hey, did y'all stay attached to KD last time down? Make sure you stay attached. He almost got loose. Bruce Brown out here running around free. Go hit a floater, Bruce. Hit a 3, Bruce. Boston's like, cool story, bro. And again, going back to coaching, like my man's just not. I'm working on being positive. He's getting severely outcoached, and I'm gonna leave that where it is. Are the Suns done? I don't think they're done. However, it's going to be tougher than it would have been had Book not gotten hurt. I think the Warriors about to make another big run to the finals. I do think so as well. I've been feeling that way since this year, since the start of the year. They got their third little light skin who's kind of a mix between the two original light skins, which is trouble. And their new death lineup or whatever that doesn't have a name. Again, the luxury, like when everyone's always like, oh man, Draymond this, Draymond that. Dog, if Draymond only shows up for the second season, which is the most important time of the year, he's worth every freaking penny. You see what he's doing defensively against Denver? He is literally single-handedly blowing the entire world up. And the only time he seems to hit jumpers is in the postseason. Backpack Draymond out here knocking down open jumpers. Like, that's what you want out here, man.
I got a question first.
Sure.
All right. So I know it's I don't think they can win it, but Memphis seems to give them trouble. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how that works out. Just because of Memphis, Memphis seems to beat them a lot.
I think Memphis is like tough and physical, and they're annoying the way they play defense or whatever. I also think that for the most part this season, when they've matched up, Golden State was always missing somebody. And then also, no disrespect to Memphis, not being disrespectful at all, that ain't playoff Golden State, so I could care less.
Right, true, good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not to be mean, just this Draymond we didn't see this Draymond in regular season. He was cooking to start the year for sure. Like he was doing his thing, but it was there's definitely been an uptick in intensity for them as a whole since the playoffs started. You got Curry coming off the bench, Jordan Poole out here making bread. Wiggins out here, as much as people hate Wiggins, why that new death kind of works so well. The boy that can't rebound or whatever, he out there rebounding and disrupting and blowing stuff up next to Draymond. Because again, you're playing Poole, Steph, and Clay, who's not all the way fully Clay still yet. And them other two dudes got to do a whole lot of the heavy lifting. Even Otto coming in, and you're asking Otto to come hit the glass and all that other stuff, man. So credit to them. But Golden State's hell to deal with. And if you're the Suns, you want to get through this first round, and in case you want to make sure that you're whole for when you see Golden State, because with them, it's just a matter of who out-executes who. And that's what that comes down to. But yeah, man, it's going to be tough as always. Let me see. Curry coming off the bench is crazy. It is. It's not fair. But also that the fact that Poole, like, obviously Curry could put the ball on the floor. Poole's so ignorant and dynamic in the way his game is, the fact that he could pull up from the range of the other two, but he got a different bop to his handle than Curry got. It's just everything with Jordan Poole is just rude. Everything's rude. Shot fake and a step back, just ignorant and rude. And he puts defenders in hell. And again, you can't leave one of the other light skins because their resumes, but you're going to leave Steph because Jordan Poole's cooking? Nah, you're not. You're going to leave Clay? Lord knows if he accidentally sees two goes in. So, it's tough, but it's good to see them back. Memphis has their hand full with the Timberwolves. They do. Because, again, the playoffs are different, man. Like, you get in the playoffs, man, them old folks get rest every couple days. Now, ain't no back-to-backs. You get the best version of old folks, and that's tough in the playoffs. Old folks got time. All right, back to the NFL real quick. When Carson went's back in familiar territory, most likely taking a wide receiver on the draft board, do you guys think they could be 500 or one sink another team and continues the NFL tour? Yeah, man, it's completely on him. I don't care what they do in the draft, man. You moved heaven and earth for him. So, hit him better work out. So, like, if this year don't work, it better not be him fault. That's all I got.
I don't think you got to get his confidence back, whatever that is. And I think just whatever happened to him, in Philly and even Indy, they kind of, so he's one of the guys you can't take the game out of his hands all the way. And I think they tried to. And now it's like, okay, you get one throw here and there. And some people don't play that way. Like a shooter that takes a shot every 5 to 10 minutes. Like some people need to just throw the ball. And I think there was times, in Philly when they were pretty good where Wentz was able to, kind of just play football. And I think if they allow him to play football, and feed McLaurin, he has a go-to guy he can trust. Feed McLaurin, get Gibson involved, and some of the other targets they have. They signed some other people last year, so they could just get going because and if the defense plays better, the defense was terrible last year. So I think if you just get his confidence up and I mean, obviously not expecting crazy numbers, but just playing above average football, that's all.
Yeah, I would also throw in like Diami Brown living that Ayuk life. Like, how about you use him? Find a way to use him. Like, he's dynamic as hell. Find a way to use him. Make Terry's life easier. And again, that's on Carson. Don't throw the YOLO balls. You should have opportunities with this type of speed they have on outside to attack defenses. Just don't be an idiot with it. Like, if Carson plays with himself, Carson's a good quarterback. Carson got this thing because he got a couple traits or whatever. Sometimes he think he's a superhero. He's not. He got to throw all that out the window. Sometimes you can make a special play here and there, and that's cool. But you gotta,
throw it in the bleachers occasionally.
Man, he got that Jimmy thing. He got that Jimmy issue where, nah, man, I can make a play, bro. Throw the ball out of bounds.
Right.
Just throw the ball out of bounds. It's okay. Like, it's really okay to throw the ball out of bounds. No, I can make something happen. No, you can't. You're gonna hurt us. Stop. Like, again, if Carson plays with himself, it's cool. I'm interested to see. How that relationship between Scott Turner and Wentz goes, in terms of how if they could get the most out of Carson, etc. And you got great check down options in Gibson and McKissick, I think. So yeah. He said Brown and Samuel got to help Terry. Nah, man, all four teams are taking L's on these deals, bro. So you got are you taking the biggest L? The least amount of L, the least of the L, or just somewhere in the middle. That's it. That's your rankings. You're all losing. All of them are going to get paid, or you're all going to lose stud wide receivers. So that's it. If he played with the Colts, I think we would be good. Stats wise, he played fair. Yeah. But again, there's too much of I can make something happen. And that's always the issue with Carson. Like, the guys that are really special that can make something happen, they don't rely on it all the time. Carson legit is somebody who can do it every once in a while, but he hits the hell out that button too much, and there's no reason to do
it. If you look at his stats last year, they were actually good, but like you were saying, the issue is with him is it's like when it rains, it pours. He'll have a game where he can't hit anything. 3 picks, 4 completions. Like one of them games where he single-handedly loses you the game, and I think that's the problem. But when he's playing well, there's games where you see him throw a defensive tackle off his back, scramble, and throw a pass. And I think you fall into that, and you think that's who you are. And I think that's what his issue is. He loses himself and gets carried away. And then when things go bad, I don't want to question anybody being mentally weak or mentally strong, but I've noticed when things go down, they keep going.
Once that spiral starts, like that snowball is a boulder and turns into an avalanche. Whatever cliche you want to use, it's no turning, it's no reversing that fortune once it gets going. Sid wants to know, also interested in your sticks on Jalen Hurts, franchise quarterback or not. All right, y'all, give y'all like 5-6 more minutes worth of questions. We want to get out of here, so give me a heads up. Last call for questions. Go ahead, Justin.
Pass to me.
Or did you want me to go first? I got you.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so I think he can be. But I also think you gotta get that wide receiver core figure out. You don't have things that complement each other. Like what you do have, I do think you have a wide receiver 1 in Devontae. However, you need to get the complementary pieces right. You do have a good tight end. Those outside pieces need to be upgraded. I don't have anything against those guys, but they need to be upgraded enough where people can't just easily people can't take Devontae out of the game as easily as they have been able to do. Also, the play caller has to get better and grow with Jalen a bit more too. So sometimes, there's sometimes they go into games and I'm legit like, why are you doing this? Honestly, just why are you doing this? Like, it's not a strength of his right now. Why are we doing it? Just why, Sway? Like, he needs to work on it for sure. I agree with you. Not this week. Why now? Go ahead though.
Yeah, I think Jalen's what it is. Jalen's a guy you can win with. Like, he's not the guy that is the complete difference maker. He can make the plays to win games, but he's not the guy where you're like just put on his back and say go. I think that's where it gets carried because he can make certain plays that a lot of guys can't make in the league, but he's still developing. And I think that's what he's the type of guy. His teammates love him. He doesn't do anything for him. He works hard. Seemed like a great kid, and I think that's where You just have to put the right pieces around him and just allow him to be himself. There's certain plays like he doesn't throw the ball to certain spots in the field. Like that's the way it is. There's certain throws he just won't make. But again, if you get different players, maybe it opens it up for him. But so I think that's the thing is just getting them a bigger target. Like I said, the tight end, you have Devontae, use the running backs a little more, and just don't put things on his plate that he can't do, or let him keep developing, and build around him. And you can win with him. Again, just don't ask him to do too much. And I think that's what happened in that Tampa Bay game. They put a lot on his plate and things didn't work out. But I mean, he's going to be ups and downs. Same with a lot of these quarterbacks. But he's not a top tier. He's not going to be a top 10 quarterback, but he could be somewhere in between 10 and 20. And he's a gamer. He's one of those guys that he's going to find a way. If you keep it close, he'll find a way to make some plays to win the game.
But again, like Justin said, because he's not going to be one of them top 10 guys, you got to upgrade the stuff around him. And then maybe you can get a little bit more out of him. But a lot of the stuff that he likes to do, you don't have the receivers for. He loves throwing sideline. You don't got the big bodies, the throwback shoulder and things of that nature. He wants to go sometimes put stuff on the top shelf. None of these dudes are built to do those things. Go get pieces that fit his skill set, honestly. We know he can find Devontae, but it'd be even easier if you get some other stuff on the outside. Again, we said this, I think, yesterday. The Eagles are a good place for like Drake London, Treylon Burks, somebody with some physicality outside where you can throw back shoulder. You can use his body to box out, things like that. That'll help Jalen a lot. So when he does get in trouble, that's where he's always looking to is the sideline throw. But, Devontae is 145 pounds. The rest of them dudes don't weigh too much more than Devontae. Yeah. It's kind of hard to box out when you don't have the body for it at all. So, yeah, it's for you, Justin. Sid said. I appreciate you, Mike, Sid. Anybody else is tuned in today, just a reminder, Monday through Fridays, unless, got work to go do media-wise, we'll be here. I'll be here for, Mornings with the Focus. Again, you guys steer the conversation. We got a couple topics each day. After that, as Kirksey's coming here and taking over along with Sid, you guys got the right to do just that. So, I got 2 minutes to last call, man. I'm going to get you out of 2 minutes. But next week, it should be fun next week. Figure out, we get closer to the draft as people do stuff. So, man, that should be fun. That should be fine. We shall definitely see how things end up working out. All right, Kirk, so we appreciate you as well, man. Definitely do. But yeah, man.
We're gonna throw out a mock draft sometime next week.
Yeah, or tomorrow we can see what's going on tomorrow. What things look like tomorrow. I don't know. Get that going on, man. It should be funny. But it's fun. It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. It's gonna be fun times. Whole lot of noise. I expect more noise to pick up. Are the Hawks getting the broom? Possibly. Yeah, probably. Yeah. They got to go into this offseason, kind of retool some things around Trey. Or, I don't know, ask that man to play defense. Like, guard your position, bro. I know it's crazy in these wild days and times to ask folks to guard their position. But, yeah, dude, guard your position. Guard your position. Like, try. Help the other 4 dudes on your team out. Yeah. I straight do a game. He cried about the calls. I mean, we'll see what happens, man. But you know who doesn't care about the calls? Miami. Miami never cares. Death taxes and Miami's going to be physical and everything else. And they're going to push you. They're going to put hands on you regardless of the whistles. They'll just find more people to come in the game and do it. Whether it's Kyle, Gabe Vincent, Bam, whoever. They just going to put hands on you. It's what they believe in. He can guard Lowry. Hey, look, man, maybe. I don't know who he can guard, man. That's up to Trey. I leave that man alone. People get mad when you talk about him. So, yeah, physical is the way to affect a lot of folks in this league's game. But, due to the way, the freedom of movement or whatever in the regular season, people allowed to dance on people and do what they want. Then they wind the clock back in the playoffs. People are like, oh, my gosh, he's not averaging 30. What's going on? Because you're allowed to play defense again. And because it's a series, people got this time of the year. So, yeah. He said he hate that style. Yeah, he's not a fan of it. He's not a big fan of it, man. Just hit the notification bell. We appreciate you, sir. Do you have a regular schedule? Yeah, man. Pretty much between 9:30 and 10:30 every morning, we're going to get started. Again, the only way it doesn't happen that day is, and I'll try to let you guys know the day before, is if I got got media work stuff to go do where I can't be here because I got to go pretend to be working somewhere. Then we won't have it. Outside of that, Monday through Friday, 9:30, between 9:30 and 10:30 we get started. 10:30 at the latest, 9:30. Ideally. So we'll be back tomorrow morning. Phil. So you know, Phil, Mike, Sid, anybody else that tuned in, spread the word of mouth, man. Get your folks in here, come talk to. We have no issue with it, man. Y'all have a great day.